An eccentric philosophy professor gave a one-question final exam after a semester dealing with a broad array of topics. The class was already seated, ready to go, when the professor picked up his chair. He plopped it on his desk and wrote on the board, "Using everything we have learned this semester, prove that this chair does not exist." Fingers flew, erasers erased, notebooks were filled in furious fashion. Some students wrote over 30 pages in 1 hour, attempting to refute the existence of the chair. One member of the class, however, was up and finished in less than a minute. Weeks later, when the grades were posted, the rest of the group wondered how he could have gotten an A when he had barely written anything at all. His answer consisted of 2 words: "What chair?" Bob goes into the public bathroom and sees this guy standing next to the urinal. The guy has no arms. As Bob's standing there taking care of business, he wonders to himself how the poor guy is going to take a leak. Bob finishes and starts to leave when the man asks Bob to help him out. Being a kind soul, Bob says, "Okay, I'll help you." The man asks, "Can you unzip my zipper?" Bob says, "Okay." Then the man says, "Can you pull it out for me?" Bob replies, "Oh yeah, okay." Bob pulls it out and it has all kinds of mold, red rashes and scabs all over it, and it smells dreadful. Then the guy asks Bob to point it for him, which Bob does. Bob then shakes it, puts it back in and zips it up. The guy tells Bob, "Thanks, I really appreciate it." Bob says, "No problem, but what the hell's wrong with your prick?" The guy pulls his arms out of his shirt and says, "I don't know, but I'm not touching it." A guy is walking along a beach when he comes across a lamp partially buried in the sand. He picks up the lamp and gives it a rub. 2 genies appear, and they tell him he has been granted 3 wishes. The guy makes his 3 wishes, and the genies disappear. The next thing he knows, he's in a bedroom, in a mansion, surrounded by 50 beautiful women. He makes love to all of them and begins to explore the house. Suddenly, he feels something soft under his feet. He looks down, and the floor is covered in $50 bills. Then, there is a knock at the door. He answers the door, and standing there are the 2 genies. They drag him outside to the nearest tree, throw a rope over a limb, and hang him by the neck until he is dead. As the genies walk off, one genie says to the other, "Hey, I can't understand the first wish. Having all these beautiful women in a big mansion to make love to, I can also understand him wanting to be a millionaire. But to be well hung is beyond me." Miss B, the church organist, was in her 80s and had never been married. She was much admired for her sweetness and kindness to all. One afternoon, the pastor came to call on her, and she showed him into her living room. She invited him to have a seat while she prepared some tea. As he sat facing her old pump organ, the young minister noticed a cut-glass bowl sitting on top of it, filled with water. In the water floated, of all things, a condom. When she returned with tea and cookies, they began to chat. The pastor tried to stifle his curiosity about the bowl of water and its strange contents, but soon it got the better of him, and he could no longer resist. "Miss Beer," he said, pointing to the bowl, "I wonder if you would tell me about this." "Oh yes," she replied, "isn't it wonderful? I was walking through the park a few months ago, and I found this little package on the ground. The directions said to place it on the organ, keep it wet, and it would prevent the spread of disease. And, you know, I haven't had a cold all winter." A Scotsman, Englishman, and an Irishman were drinking at a bar. "As good as this bar is," said the Scotsman, "I still prefer the pubs back home. In Glasgow, there's a wee place called McTavish's." The landlord goes out of his way for the locals. When you buy 4 drinks, he'll buy the 5th drink. "Well, Angus," said the Englishman, "at my local in London, the Red Lion, the barman will buy you your 3rd drink after you buy the first 2. "Ah, that's nothing," said the Irishman. "Back home in my favorite pub, the moment you set foot in the place, they'll buy you a drink, then another, all the drinks you like, actually. Then, when you've had enough drinks, they'll take you upstairs and see that you gets laid. All on the house." The Englishman and Scotsman were suspicious of the claims. The Irishman swore every word was true. "Did this actually happen to you?" asked his friends. "Not myself personally, no," admitted the Irishman, "but it did happen to me, sister, quite a few times." Harry and his wife are having hard financial times, so they decide that she'll become a hooker. She's not quite sure what to do, so Harry says, "Stand in front of that bar and pick up a guy. Tell him that you charge $100. If you get a question, I'll be parked around the corner." She's standing there for 5 minutes when a guy pulls up and asks, "How much?" She says, $100. He says, "All I got is 30, she says. "Hold on," and runs back to Harry and asks, "What can he get for 30? "Mister," Harry replies, "a hand job." She runs back and tells the guy all he gets for $30 is a hand job. He agrees. She gets in the car. He unzips his pants and out pops this huge. She stares at it for a minute and then says, "I'll be right back." She runs back to Harry and asks, "Can you loan this guy $70? An old lady is speeding down a highway when she spots a police officer with a speed gun. The officer signals for her to pull over and then walks over and asks her with a snarl, "What's the rush?" "I'm late for work," the old lady replies. "Uh-huh, sure," snaps the officer. "And what do you do?" She replies, "I'm a rectal distender." The cop responds, "A what? A rectal distender? And what is that exactly?" She answers, "Well, you see, I start by putting a finger in, then another, then I work up to 3 fingers, 4 fingers, until the whole hand is in. I work from side to side until I can get both hands in, and then slowly but surely I extend the rectum until it's about 6 feet wide." The officer is shocked. "And what the heck do you do with a 6-foot asshole?" She responds, "Give him a speed gun and put him by the side of the road." A man walks into a sex shop and tells the woman behind the counter he's looking for a blow-up doll. The woman asks, "Would you like a Christian or Muslim doll?" Confused, the man says, "What's the difference?" "Well," replies the woman, "the Muslim one blows herself up."